Here are the Spy Kids movies ranked. So there's 5 Spy Kids movies. So let's get started. Coming in at number 5 is Spy Kids 2: The Island of Lost Dreams. Now, let me start off with the positives. Gary and Gertie Giggles, they're a good foil for Junie and Carmen. I like them. And the animal hybrids are cool, like the horsefly, bullfrog. They're pretty creative. But that's about it. The mixed, Ingrid's parents, they don't add a lot to the movie, but at least they're established in this movie so that they can be in Spy Kids 3. So it's not this jarring thing. And this movie has good ideas like the animal hybrids and the temple where you can hear people's thoughts, but they don't focus on those, so it's just they have too many ideas and they're not fleshed out. And the negatives with this movie, there's a lot of gross out humor, a bit too much. Junie's reason for being kicked out of the OSS didn't really make sense. It's like the bad guy got away and now he's kicked out of the OSS. I'm not really sure. And Donegan Giggles is the least memorable villain of the franchise. He's not very good. He's just not really that memorable. So Spy Kids 2, at the end of the day, I think it's a decent movie. It's watchable, so I don't think it'd be, like, bad. So I can enjoy it when I'm binge watching the franchise, but it's not really going to be a Spy Kids movie that I'm going to pick if I'm in the mood. Number 4 is Spy Kids 3D Game Over. The concept of going into a video game I like. That's really cool, and it has some good action in it. Like the robot fight is cool, the lava surfing, I like that. That's entertaining, and the mega race, that is super fun. That's the best moment of this movie, so I really like it when they're racing and then they go up a ramp, they go into a tunnel. I like that, so that's very entertaining. And the Toy Maker, played by Sylvester Stallone, is actually a very cool villain, and he's in a lot of the movie. So I think this is a much more entertaining movie than Spy Kids 2. On the negative side, the graphics look terrible in the video game, and it's just so fake. And the 3D gimmick just kind of gets in the way because it's always going in your face. So that's annoying. This movie tends to introduce stuff right before it comes important. Like, the guy. And then, there's a deceiver. And then probably the worst one, Arnold's family. Like, why are you here, Arnold? That's for my family. Okay, now let's fight. Oh, I had to beat her because of my family. And it's like, why do we care? You just mentioned that like 5 minutes ago. So, that was actually really annoying because they did it a few times in the movie. But I can actually enjoy this movie. I think it's quite enjoyable. So, again, I wouldn't say there's really any movie that I don't enjoy in this franchise. So, again, I mean, like, none of these movies are awesome. But then again, none of these movies are terrible. So Spy Kids 3D Game Over, I think it's fairly entertaining. Number 3 is Spy Kids Armageddon. Came out onto Netflix this last September. The set design, very cool. The temple was impressive. The story, I thought, was very engaging. With a game taking over the world, I like that. The action, I think, is actually pretty solid. Like the race to the safe house, that was cool. Fighting Ray Kingston, that was cool in the game. So I like that. So it's very entertaining. The negatives for it, the 1 day earlier thing, that was annoying because an hour into the film, it's like, okay, I just saw this an hour ago and I don't care. They could have started with like Project Fireball, and then that could have been the entire setup of the movie. So it's new footage, and it sets up the movie very well. Otherwise, I think that actually kind of feels like comes out of nowhere. But the intro, not very good. I don't like it. And this movie remakes the first 3 movies, like we gotta get to the safe house, and the gadgets, the long name password, going into a video game. The kids need to save the parents, the bad guys come to the safe house. So that was pretty boring because it's like I kind of know where this is gonna go. But other than those negatives, I think this is actually a pretty good movie. It's very watchable. And I think it looks better than Spy Kids 3D Game Over. So, very good movie. I actually enjoy it. Number 2 is the original Spy Kids. This, fairly entertaining. It's very creative. So I enjoy it. The story is engaging enough of like who Floop is and who Minion is and what these robot kids are gonna do. So fairly engaging. The spy gadgets are cool, like the world's tiniest camera. The shock bubblegum, that's cool. And the kamikaze line, I think that's actually fairly funny. I don't know, for whatever reason. Like, you did that on purpose, you kamikaze? That was kind of funny. I don't know. The mixed aspect, it's very childish with the jokes. So the jokes don't really land for me. It's a bit too childish. But at the end of the day, it is a movie made for children. So I'm not necessarily the target audience for this. And then the negatives, not really great action, not really any action at all, when this should be like a spy action movie, and it's not. And I personally wish it was a little darker of a story or some darker elements. Otherwise, it's just a movie made for kids, although a solid movie made for kids. So, again, it's a movie, a solid movie made for kids. But coming in at number 1 is Spy Kids All the Time in the World. I'll start with the negatives. Dog, voiced by Ricky Gervais, very annoying. I don't think he's funny. And then there are a few childish jokes, like Toot or Butthead. So it's like, okay, let's just get through this so we can get to the good stuff. So the story, I think, is actually fairly entertaining with what TikTok and Timekeeper are trying to do. The effects are arguably the best of the franchise. So I like that. It looks pretty real. I think the CGI just enhances it. The villains, best ones of the franchise because they have a good motive and actually kind of a nice motive of why they're doing this, to try and spend time with their father that they didn't get. So I think that's actually cool. The action is solid. This is like a Mission Impossible Junior. Them flying the ships, the kids flying the ships, the battle with the guards, the clock death trap, and the final battle. They're all entertaining. This movie actually has some pretty good twists, like who the villain is, which is Danger Diamo, who the boy frozen in time was. So I like that. So, and then that he's done this before. It actually pulls off like 4 good twists in the movie that build upon each other that makes it even better. And the final positive is it has a good lesson of like spend the time with the loved ones now that you have time. So I like that. There's a little something more to say than the other Spy Kids movies. So a good lesson, good action, pretty entertaining. Spy Kids All the Time in the World comes in as my number 1 favorite Spy Kids movie in the Spy Kids franchise. Thanks for watching.